So initially I wanted to do a video called kind of why Batman's greatest superpower is this. And I've done that before, and I was going to do where it's basically his greatest superpower is being rich, right? And that's like kind of the joke, like, oh, he's rich, he has all this technology, whatever, right? But imagine a world where Batman himself wasn't a billionaire. Yes, Batman, Bruce Wayne was not a billionaire. Well, that's exactly where we dive into in this comic, Absolute Batman. Yes, Comic Casual is reviewing a comic. Yes, a comic, guys. Okay, I know, okay. All right. We are reviewing a comic to an extent because we are talking about a Batman who isn't a billionaire, aka what if Batman wasn't a billionaire? And obviously, like I said, we'll be talking about Absolute Batman. Yes, I'm a bit late, but I love the concept of, for one, Batman not being rich and how he would approach kind of his vigilante type of work when he's not wealthy and has all these things that are positive in his life in terms of money and riches and all this stuff, right? Now, to start the comic, we are initially introduced to Gotham City, and we kind of are introduced to it via a different version of Alfred Pennyworth, right? It seems that this Alfred is far from your typical butler, but it also seems that he's working with an organization and it needs his help. He's brought back to Gotham to stop a gang and so on, but it seems that they also have a deal with someone else, right? They also have to deal with someone else, being that of Batman. They are currently tailing a gang, and the gang is being also tailed by Batman himself. Now, this is where we learn about Batman really not being a billionaire. Yes, he's not actually rich, right? He is shown practicing hitting a punching bag, but then we get a shot of him when he was younger talking to his teacher of a dad who isn't obviously ultra wealthy. We all know how much teachers make. It's absolutely nothing. But they're talking about a lion that sleeps for 20 hours a day, feeds on prime meats and all of the such, and he fears nothing, right? Kind of hinting at what type of Batman we are actually going to be getting here, because this version of Batman, he's this apex predator type of Batman, a Batman that will seek to not fear a single thing. I mean, genuinely, seeing this version of Batman punch the punching bag was kind of crazy. He's already looking massively ripped, completely bulked out. He's a bigger dude, right? A bigger dude than your typical just normal Batman that we are normally accustomed to. And we continue to see kind of this difference in the world when we when he starts revealing kind of these different friends that Batman has, right? From your Killer Crocs to your Selena Kyles, your Cobblepots, and others who are normally just villains, but at the very least, we know that they're not necessarily villains, especially when we see Killer Croc, who actually isn't a bad person. He actually is just really into these reptiles, and he has a whole thing with reptiles, has alligators as pets and stuff like that, snakes and stuff like that, which is, by the way, awesome. I think is a dope way of actually portraying Killer Croc, kind of in a more human way, that he's like obsessed and really into these creatures or these reptiles instead of him actually being a reptile himself. But let's just jump a little bit further into when he finally dons the cowl, or finally Batman dons the cowl. And we get this whole thing where Croc would give Bruce info about a town hall meeting. They're talking about a gang, which is the gang we were referencing earlier, by the name of the Party Animal Gang. And while this is all happening, Alfred Pennyworth is watching the Party Animal Gang as they're kind of coming into the town hall meeting, or they're kind of entering the town hall meeting, which, by the way, this isn't your normal mayor. This is Mayor Gordon, which obviously we know normally as a police captain and stuff like that, but this is Mayor Gordon. So he was part of the police force. Now he's Mayor Gordon. But they do talk about some very interesting things about kind of things that are happening. How are we approaching stopping the Party Animal Gang and stuff like that. But eventually we lead into the Party Animal Gang invading, which is when you see the first glimpse of what this Batman truly is. We get Batman who drags them away and basically tells a version of Barbara Gordon to, hey, stay out of the way, right? Stay out of the way because you don't want to see what you're going to see if you continue to watch. And let's be honest, it was completely justified because Batman versus the Party Animals gang, oh, it is a disgusting, disgusting mess. He has this awesome bulletproof suit and he destroys these guys, like destroys them. Initially hanging from the rafters, right? He gets shot at a bunch of times, nothing works. He comes down and he starts whooping. He starts absolutely whooping. And this is when I'm gonna be honest, I think is the best part of this is Alfred Pennyworth actually monologuing a lot of the things that are happening, right? We have Alfred who's beginning to kind of monologue who this version of Batman is, right? He's saying that he's fast, but he's steady, focused, right? Extremely focused, and that he's kind of been waiting for this, as if Batman himself has been waiting for an opportunity to finally dip his toes into fighting crime, right? He even references he's trained mixed martial arts, at least a blend of Muay Thai, BJJ, but a striker above all, right? But it's also just a blend of everything. It's his own creative style. Like, that's what he is. And he's brutal, but he's also precise, which is a key thing in my mind where you're talking about Batman. Batman himself normally is very brutal, but he is very precise, right? Batman himself, yes, he'll give you some brain trauma, but he's not out to actually kill you. And I'm glad that we still get a version of that Batman here, at least that taste of that version of Batman, right? Because in a way, Alfred even says like he's putting on a show. So it makes you wonder, hey, is he enjoying this? Which Alfred even, I believe, references that too. But he talks about someone's leg getting stomped, right? You can hear the crack, right? It sends a message to these people. Fear is the message, right? He enjoys it, which is another thing where it's like, whoa, okay, he enjoys it. Now that's interesting, right? That's something interesting to think about because we're talking about a Batman who enjoys putting fear into these people and hurting these people, right? But it doesn't mean he's killing them, right? And it even says this because it says great knife work, which, by the way, he's using knives, right? Bloody, but will miss each artery by just enough. So there's no fatalities, not at all, not one, which is awesome to hear because I do love the idea of Batman not killing, but having a Batman who's as brutal as this and as basically fearing as this, like someone who can instill fear the way this version of Batman can. Oh my goodness, it's a different feeling, right? It's a totally different feeling. And we even get a cool scene, which I mean, I say cool, but it's an awesome scene. This guy, he threatens Batman, right? He whips out this meat cleaver and he's like, oh, you know, you better get out of here or else. And Batman's like, okay, bet. He pulls a literal battle axe, a Batman battle axe off his chest and slices the dude's hand off. Like, that is crazy. And you know what he tells him after too? He says, you might want to go to the hospital, like right now, because you might bleed out. Like, go to the nearest hospital ASAP. He basically telling him like, I don't want you to die, but if you stay here, you will die. I'm just saying, right? Then you get all these people, they're yelling, they're scared because the Party Animal gang is your typical gang, right? It's your typical gang in these superhero worlds where they really thrive off of the numbers, right? The numbers game, being able to take you down because there's so many of us that you can't even handle the onslaught, right? But this is a little bit different because Batman flat out has shown them that there's no numbers game that's going to help you. You will lose no matter what. So all of them go yelling, right? Get out of my way. Like, you know, they're getting out of here. And Batman yells at them and basically shows off these like spikes, which is terrifying too. But they're out of there, right? I gotta go. I gotta run. So for those who run, of course, there was a trap. And Alfred even references this saying like, well, if he was really like particular, there would be a trap waiting. And there was. And there was a trap waiting for the rest of them that were fleeing. And it shut it all down. They weren't dead though. All of them survived, but they were just incapacitated. But eventually Alfred goes in and basically threatens with this crazy shotgun. Basically tells Batman like, hey, if I pull this trigger, this shotgun, done, right? You're done. You're gone instantly. That's how crazy this shotgun is. There's only like 5 in the world, blah, blah, blah. But Batman just, not even hesitating, easily kicks him off and just leaves, right? He just leaves. I mean, I believe he takes the shotgun, but he just kicks him off, boom, takes the shotgun, leaves, done deal. That's it, right? And we could assume that Alfred really didn't want to fight him here. I don't believe Alfred really wanted to actually kill him, because there is a scene where the people in his ear, the organization, is telling him like, hey, like, get in there, stop the guy. And or like, once you see him, you got to go stop him. And Alfred like closes his eyes and he's like, well, can't go handle what I can't see, so I'm not going to worry about it. And it seems like Alfred does have this moral compass with some people like this in terms of like Batman. And there's a partial point where I believe this to be true, because there's a lot of time where Alfred begins to do this deep dive into who Batman is, and begins to follow him around, learns of Bruce Wayne. He's 24 years old. Mom's a social worker. Dad was a teacher. He has a genius level intellect, right? He even makes like this bridge for this engineering award, and the prize was to go to this Gotham Zoo, and this is where his father would end up passing away by a gunman. And he would go down a bit of a kind of an awkward path. And this is literally Alfred analyzing and breaking down everything about Bruce Wayne. And as he goes down this bad path, you know, he has to gather himself. Once he gathers himself again, he would go to college. And supposedly, bro was good enough to like go pro in football, right? That's what Alfred's saying. Like, the guy's high level, right? He was high level, but he decided, hey, I'm going to fake this injury, like a simple like tissue injury. And there was a reason for this, right? Because he decided that it was time for him to go home, back to Gotham City. And it also seemed that, well, Alfred references as he's trying to save his body for the mission at hand, right? So obviously he wants to not hurt himself while doing football stuff, because he needs to be ready for what's to come in Gotham City. And it's not just that either. And this is what I think is so amazing about this comic. And obviously, I would love more suggestions from you guys. But what's so amazing about this comic is that it really puts into perspective all the hard work Batman does to know the things he knows, right? He studies applied mechanics, chemistry, criminal psychology, military theory, sociocultural history, everything to prepare him for that said return, right? It kind of lays it out for you, right? And even more, and I'll explain why even more toward the Gotham part, because I don't know about you guys, I've always wondered, how does Batman know the sewer systems in and out? How does he know Gotham City the way he knows it? Some may say like, oh, he's just lived there his entire life and stuff like that. But I've lived in certain places my entire life, or like a long time, and I don't know places like that like the back of my hand, right? But this really puts into perspective how he would know it, right? He would then work for the Gotham power grid, the water department, sanitation, interning at City Hall, learning public policy, learning the city, the body, or Alfred even references it as the body, the brain, and every damn part. And that is where things kind of hit you, where it's like, yeah, Batman's preparation is insane. We always talk about this, hey, if you give Batman prep time, he can beat anyone, right? And that's kind of the joke, right? The plot armor around it. But in this reality, it's like Batman really did take prep time to another level, right? He straight up, he decided, hey, I'm going to take the forefront of this. I'm going to go to college for every single thing I need to know about saving my city. I will go back then and go back to my city and work in every single thing. If it's construction, if it's water plantations, if it's anything, right? If it's the power grids, because I want to learn it all. I want every last bit of knowledge so that I can have it, I can use it, and I can properly become the Batman I'm supposed to be. And it would even go full circle, because he would eventually become an engineer, which this is awesome as well, where once again, to do his crusade, he would also fix the mess that he makes. Dude, bro, what the heck? There's so many layers to this, I feel like, where Batman he's not your typical, like, and this is where it really leans into the fact that he's not a billionaire, right? Bruce Wayne, normally, oh, I could just donate a bunch of money if I wanted to fix up certain areas, right? Oh, my annual donation to this place or this place to cover kind of the tracks of Batman's mess he makes, right? But in this version, well, he doesn't have that money. He doesn't have stupid amounts of money to just throw away. So what does he do? Well, he's Batman by night, engineer by day, so he fixes everything and all the mess he makes. It's kind of an insane idea and a kind of beautifully written thing, or kind of plot device that I really enjoyed. And it's really a practicality thing, right? Because truly the name of the game for a non-billionaire Batman or absolute Batman is to learn how to properly help your city. And that's exactly what he's doing. He doesn't want to hurt his city, even though he is a vigilante. He still wants to help it. Then we would actually learn that his mom survives. Yes, his mother is alive. And Alfred knows his secret, someone who he cares about. But Alfred doesn't do it. You want to know why? Because Alfred sees him as a kid. He's 24 years old. He's a kid, right? He's not doing anything necessarily crazy. And yes, Alfred could go out of his way, end it right there, but no. He's just a kid. But this is also, in my mind, I think Alfred is kind of making up excuses. I honestly don't think Alfred sees Batman or Bruce Wayne as a bad person. I don't think he sees him as someone that he wants to eliminate. So Alfred, I honestly believe he continues to show this structure of a moral code for himself, and he continues to kind of show what his beliefs are, even if he is kind of owned and guided by a said unknown entity, right? He still shows all of these things because he's not going to just kill the kid, right? He's not going to just do that. That's horrible, right? Even because Batman is doing good things, even if it is in a somewhat brutal fashion. But eventually Alfred would show up to Batman's base. And yes, it's not a Batcave, right? You don't have billions of dollars to renovate a Batcave. So he's on kind of these high skyscraper rooftops, which I think, by the way, is awesome. I think it's an awesome idea to have him on like rooftops that maybe people don't know about, or rooftops that are like completely abandoned, and he kind of used that as a station for himself and a base. And this is where Alfred basically goes up there to take him out, supposedly, right? Supposedly take him out. But this is where it's revealed that, hey, the Batman doesn't leave the Batman too far, because this version of Batman, well, he was gathering intel and info on Alfred as well, because there is no way he was going to let it slide. And Batman was completely ready for the little sneak attack that Alfred had. And eventually, he would actually he would actually shoot initially Alfred in the face with his shotgun. The shotgun that was supposed to be one of 5 in the world, right? This strong, powerful shotgun that could obliterate you, right? No, but he shoots him, and guess what? It's non-lethal now. Yep. The Batman way is not to kill, and it's a non-lethal weapon now. He throws it back to Alfred and takes his motorcycle, and it's kind of his way of like, hey, you can have this back now. Just make sure you don't do any more killing. And he made sure that he ain't gonna do any more killing. And Batman takes off on a motorcycle, which obviously Batman on a motorcycle, always awesome to see, always dope. And this bigger version of Batman, dude, it's not funny how intimidating this guy is, man. I can't imagine seeing this guy just walk up to you at night, right? Like, just you're doing bad things and this guy just shows up. Oh, dude, you'd never be a criminal ever again, man. And obviously toward the end of this, and this doesn't really relate too much to the what if, quote unquote, but it is something I would like to talk about because I thought it was a cool point. They do talk about, well, the inevitable Joker, which that's who Alfred in the initial beginning of the comic was trying to find. He was looking for this person for a very long time, that he was going here and there and here and there, and he was about to find him, but then he got tracked back to Gotham. And this, right, is when we learn that this version of the Joker is rich and has been training. So he basically takes on the persona of our former and original kind of universe, Bruce Wayne, where he has a bunch of money, he has all this equipment, and he gets trained by master after master, supposedly trained with the League of Assassins and then killed them all. Like, that is insane, right? Like, that's the idea behind this version of the Joker, and we're introduced to it because he's like, hey, you better don't get it twisted, because this guy, it's said that he's never laughed a day in his life, and that's why they call him the Joker. And that's where we end off the this first kind of issue of Absolute Batman. But yeah, obviously I am taking a different perspective on the video titling. Obviously, it's not gonna be called like Absolute Batman Review. This is gonna be called What If Batman Wasn't a Billionaire, right? And this story has a good little chunk to do with him not being a billionaire, and I think him not being a billionaire, especially this portrayal of him, is absolutely freaking amazing. I mean, when you look at it, all of the things that he does to be the perfect Batman in his eyes, all the preparation he goes through, it's absolutely amazing, and it's absolutely killer. And I need to get into more of these absolute storylines. I heard that Marvel has their own version of this in a way. It's like kind of like a more real world type of Marvel, which anybody who can give me suggestions, please send them my way. I'll love to do videos on them too, and they'll probably be in this format where it'll be like, what if Batman wasn't a billionaire, right? Kind of like that idea. Or if it was like a Superman one and it was like something like, what if Superman was evil or something, which I don't know if that actually exists, but that's kind of my idea. Just to give you guys a basic idea of where my head's at with some of these videos. But yeah, I would love more comic suggestions. Please send them my way. If you enjoyed the video, please show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, excuse me. And if you enjoyed this video, YouTube believes that you'll enjoy this one, so might as well go check it out.